Dear students and audience, here I am telling you people what is the significance of the title of the novel Twilight in Delhi by Ahmed Ali. Twilight in Delhi, when seen according to the dictionary meaning, means that in the city of Delhi there is no brightness, there is no darkness, rather it is standing at the middle course. And therefore the title can be analyzed in this sense as well. First of all, politically speaking, the title is very much significant of the timing when the British had started to invade Delhi and occupy Delhi, and the Muslim Mughal rulers were expelled from that place. And as a result, politically speaking, the title is significant with reference to the expulsion of the Mughal Muslim rulers and the arrival of the white British man. But socially speaking, this title means that although the palaces of the offices of the government were vacated by the Muslims, but the Muslim culture was existing and surviving and thriving also in the streets and the mohallas of Delhi, and it was very much alive there. So that is why it was also coming across the English culture and was facing it, and so there was Twilight as well. Not only Twilight exists in the political and colonial and social sense, but also in the cultural sense. There used to be many cultural activities in the palaces, in the offices of Mughal Muslim government. All these cultural activities were subsiding and giving way to the British way of life. And so in that way there was the cultural downfall as well, yet it had not completed, it had just started, and that is why the Twilight was there. In this context, if you look at the character of Mir Nihal, he appears to be very much Mughal Muslim ruler type of happy person, but he too is suffering from the arrival of British culture and its influence, not only externally but also internally. His own son Asghar is there. He is speaking English, he is doing job in an English office and is wearing English clothes and shoes, and that is why he is very much different from that. So one can say that Mir Nihal's culture is dying, and a new culture which is going to be hegemonized by the British culture, that is coming up. In this way, political and social interpretation of the title can be made. There can be another interpretation of the title, that there is going to be twilight to the literature produced in India. We are familiar with lots of poems and ghazals and other poetic lines by Mir Taqi Mir, Hasrat Mohani, Ghalib, etc. This used to be the heritage of the Muslim culture, Muslim Mughal culture especially. They used to speak one line of poetry with every talk they made. That was going to go down, and literature was going to be written in English language for the audience that could understand English language. So therefore, it's a literary downfall as well. It's going to be a twilight of Urdu literature that was being promoted during the Muslim Mughal rule, that was going to go downfall, and English literature is going to improve. So in that way, this is another interpretation of the title of the novel Twilight in Delhi. Love and romance was also another thing which was going to enter into Twilight. For example, before the arrival of British, the Mughal Muslim rulers and princes used to enjoy the love of many things, and among this was the love of the courtesans, and they used to attend these places of courtesan, learn from their many things, and enjoy their dancing and singing. Now that is going to end, and a new culture is going to thrive upon that, as we see in the novel that Baban Jan, the beloved of Mir Nihal, that dies during the story. Same is the case with Mushri Bai, who was first of all appreciated by Asghar, his son, and later on both of these are discarded, they die and finish, and a new set of love begins. So in that way, in the matter of love and romance also, Twilight in Delhi is going to enter. The Twilight in Delhi is also for the Muslims especially, that their culture, their rule has ended, but it was not giving to the Hindus the same kind of worries, because they were frequently experiencing the change of rulers. But for the Muslims, it was a big power breakage, and that is why it is another twilight in the power of the Muslims in India. Same is the case with the colonial and post-colonial situations, that now colonizing experience was new for the people of India, and Hindus and Muslims included, because before that also colonization of India used to be there, but that colonization was not hegemonizing, was not intervening into the culture, was not changing them altogether. Most of the cultures survived during the other occupants of Delhi, but now when the white man is occupying, he is visible here and there in the shape of his powerful soldiers and machines and the way of life he has given and to these people, that is going to intervene into the culture, intervene into the educational, political and social system, or one can say even judicial system. So that is why it is the twilight of all socio-cultural setup that has been established by the Muslim rulers, and it's going to be changed altogether. That is why the twilight is there. So city of Delhi is now being called Delhi. So another meaning of twilight in Delhi is that, first of all, the city was called as Dilli by the Muslim Mughal cultures. Now that Dilli is giving place, being changed or reformed into another type of modern city, and that's going to be called as Delhi. So at the literal and the word meaning level also, the city of Dilli is going to become Delhi, not altogether or completely, but still it is to come, and that is why twilight in Delhi has this type of meaning as well. The meaning may be, extended to any way during the story. It's going to bring the death to many people in the story who used to be very active, beautiful in their lives. And it brought death to many other creatures as well. It brought death to not only cultural values or the formalities of the culture, but also it brought to the death to the human being, especially to the death of the happiness of human beings. So the happiness of the human beings in general was also to end. Now the same twilight in Delhi was actually the dawn of the British rule, and that is why the people who loved that British rule, for them it was dawn. The same twilight, ironically speaking, can be dawn of Delhi under the modern British rule. So that is the kind of interpretation we can make of the title of Twilight in Delhi. The students may be included in examples from the text of the novels. Thank you for watching.